Imagine this. It's 1942. The world is burning, millions are fighting across continents, and deep inside Nazi Germany, something strange is happening. In underground bunkers and secret castles, scientists whisper about something impossible. Not a new weapon. Not a super tank. But time travel. Yes, you heard that right. The Nazis truly believed they could bend time itself. And they were ready to do anything to make it real. It all started with one man, Adolf Hitler. He wasn't just obsessed with power, he was obsessed with destiny. He believed history could be rewritten, that the past could be changed if only they could find the key. And he wanted that key more than any bomb or bullet. In his mind, if Germany lost the war, he could undo it. He could simply go back and start again. But this idea wasn't just fantasy for him. He thought ancient civilizations had already done it. In 1935, Hitler ordered his secret research division, the Ahnenerbe, to hunt down ancient relics. From the Spear of Destiny to the Holy Grail, he believed these artifacts could unlock mystical powers. But soon their focus shifted to something even stranger, the manipulation of time. Here's where it gets wild. Nazi scientists began studying theories that sound like early versions of Einstein's relativity and quantum physics. They believed that time was a force, like gravity, and if you could control it, you could travel through it. But that's not all. Hidden documents later found in the ruins of Nazi research labs mention something called Die Glock, the bell. A mysterious, bell-shaped device surrounded by metal, electricity, and glowing violet light. Witnesses described it as spinning violently, distorting everything around it, even time itself. One scientist claimed that when the bell was activated, clocks nearby would stop ticking. Metal would twist and melt. And a strange metallic smell filled the air, as if time itself was burning. Sounds insane, right? But here's the creepy part. US and Soviet intelligence both took it seriously. After the war, Operation Paperclip brought Nazi scientists to America. And some of those scientists quietly admitted, the bell was real. By now, Hitler was convinced this machine could change history. He ordered it hidden in a remote underground facility in Poland. Only a few top officers knew its exact location. And when the Allies got close to discovering it in 1945, it vanished. No wreckage. No machine. No scientist. Nothing. It was as if the bell and everyone involved had simply disappeared, out of time. But this was only the beginning. Because what happened next made the world's top scientists question everything they knew about time, war, and reality itself. When the bell vanished in 1945, most people thought it was just another myth. A story soldiers made up to sound mysterious. But what investigators later discovered buried in Nazi archives told a very different story. Inside a hidden facility in Lower Silesia, deep beneath a mountain, Nazi scientists had been performing experiments unlike anything the world had ever seen. They called it Kronos Project. Their goal? To control time itself. The project was led by a man named Hans Kammler, one of the most secretive figures in the entire Nazi regime. He wasn't a random scientist. He was the head of the SS Advanced Weapons Division, the same division that created the V-2 rocket. But Kammler was obsessed with something bigger than rockets. He believed time travel could give Hitler the ultimate weapon, the power to undo defeat. Every night, his scientists worked under candlelight and electric hums, mixing strange chemicals like mercury and thorium. They built massive metal chambers that looked like reactors, but their purpose was hidden. Documents later revealed they were experimenting with intense magnetic fields, trying to bend space-time. Now here's the part that gives historians chills. Test subjects were reportedly placed inside the chamber when it was activated. When the machine spun up, witnesses said the air shimmered like water. Moments later, the subjects were gone. Vanished. Some never came back. Others reappeared minutes later, burned, disoriented, and speaking nonsense. One survivor allegedly aged years in seconds. Was it true time travel? Or radiation poisoning from an unstable experiment? No one knows for sure. But whatever it was, the Nazi high command believed they were on the verge of breaking reality itself. Around the same time, something strange happened across Germany. Hitler ordered the construction of hundreds of underground bases, known as Wunderwaffe bunkers, miracle weapons sites. Most were used for missiles, but a few were different. They were circular, reinforced with thick concrete, and filled with mysterious machinery. These may have been the test sites for the bell. In 1944, the Nazi scientists working on Kronos Project made a shocking claim in their reports. They had managed to slow time within a small area by a fraction of a second. It sounds tiny, but if it's true, it was the first time humans ever interfered with the flow of time itself. Here's a mind-bending fact. After the war, when Allied forces captured Kammler's research notes, they vanished into U.S. archives, never released to the public. And Kammler himself? He disappeared. Some say he shot himself before capture. Others believe he escaped through secret Nazi routes to Argentina. But there's one more theory, that Kammler vanished because of the bell. According to Polish intelligence reports, when the Soviets entered the test site, they found strange metallic residue on the ground. Grass around the area had turned gray. Animals were dead, not from bombs but from something that seemed to distort their cells. Whatever the bell had done, it left a scar, not just on the Earth but maybe on time itself. And here's where things get even crazier. Years later, American scientists working in secret programs like Project Philadelphia and Project Montauk began describing technology almost identical to the bell. Spinning electromagnetic fields, antigravity effects, even teleportation. Many of those scientists were the same men brought from Germany under Operation Paperclip. So, did the bell inspire decades of secret time travel research in America? Or was it the other way around, a cover-up for something that had already worked? Whatever the truth is, one thing's clear. The Nazis weren't just chasing myths. They were experimenting with something powerful, dangerous, and way ahead of their time. And as the war neared its end, their desperation to win drove them to even darker experiments. Ones that crossed the line between science and the supernatural. By 1944, Germany was collapsing. Cities were in ruins. The Allies were closing in. But while most of the world thought the Nazis were finished, something far stranger was happening deep inside their secret societies. The line between science and superstition began to blur. Hitler had always been obsessed with ancient power. He believed the Aryan race had descended from a lost civilization, one that had mastered both energy and time. His top officers shared that belief, especially Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS. To Himmler, this wasn't just a war for land, it was a war for knowledge the world had forgotten. That's why he created the Ahnenerbe, a secret research organization disguised as an archaeological society. Their mission was to uncover ancient artifacts that might hold mystical or even scientific power. They scoured Tibet, India, and Egypt, hunting for relics that might unlock hidden forces. One of their strangest missions was in the Himalayas. A team of SS officers claimed to have found ancient texts describing a wheel of time, a machine said to open doors between worlds. When those texts reached Germany, something changed. The scientists of Kronos Project began adding occult symbols and ritual patterns into their experiments with the bell. They believed physics alone wasn't enough. That time was not just a scientific phenomenon but a spiritual one. And if they could merge both, they might control it. Strange symbols were etched into the walls around the bell's chamber. Some were ancient runes used in Norse magic. Others resembled the spiral diagrams seen in Hindu temples representing time and rebirth. To the Nazis, these weren't decorations. They were keys, a way to tune the machine to the frequency of time itself. Then something terrifying began to happen. Scientists and guards reported seeing flashes of light and human shapes inside the chamber, like shadows moving backward. Equipment would fail for no reason. Clocks would freeze. And some workers swore they heard whispers echoing through the room, voices speaking in languages no one could identify. At first, the SS dismissed these as hallucinations from exhaustion. But when multiple witnesses described the same events on different nights, Himmler ordered the area sealed and guarded. He called it a door to the other side. And here's a fact few people know. The Nazis actually had an entire division called the SS Occult Bureau. Its job was to study supernatural phenomena that might help Germany win the war. They investigated psychic soldiers, weather manipulation, and even devices that could supposedly see through time. One captured report even describes an experiment where they placed symbols around a magnetic field and claimed to project images of future events. In one description, they saw cities burning, just like Berlin did a year later. Did they really see the future? Or did their own fear and belief make them imagine it? That's the haunting part. No one can prove it either way. But one thing is certain. By the end of World War II, the Nazis were no longer just fighting with weapons. They were fighting with belief. They thought time was alive, and if they could command it, they could rule forever. When Germany finally fell, Allied forces raced to capture every scientific document they could find. But many of the files from Kronos Project and the SS Occult Bureau were missing. It's as if they vanished overnight, along with the scientists who worked on them. And here's where the mystery takes a shocking turn. A few years after the war, strange sightings began appearing, reports of flying metallic objects moving faster than any known aircraft. UFOs. Many of them were shaped exactly like the bell. When World War II ended, the world thought every trace of Nazi science had been destroyed. But only weeks later, pilots over Europe began reporting something impossible: metallic discs darting through the sky at speeds no jet could match. They called them Foo Fighters. At first, the military blamed new enemy weapons, but when the war was over and the sightings didn't stop, people started whispering, had the Nazis brought the bell back? The idea sounds like a conspiracy, yet the evidence is hard to ignore. Right after the war, the United States launched a secret operation called Paperclip. Hundreds of German scientists, many directly linked to advanced Nazi projects, were quietly shipped to America. Officially, they were meant to help with rockets and jets. Unofficially, they were told to keep working on anything that could give America an edge, no matter how strange it sounded. Among them were physicists who had worked under Hans Kammler, the man who vanished with the bell. When questioned, several admitted their work involved field manipulation. They never said the word time, but their notes described rotating magnetic rings, mercury plasma, and gravitational distortion, exactly the same components listed in the missing Kronos project papers. Only a few years later, America's skies were filled with new experiments: high-altitude balloons, radar decoys, and unidentified flying objects. In 1947, a strange craft crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. The U.S. Air Force claimed it was a balloon, but the debris described by witnesses, lightweight metal, smooth curves, symbols that looked like ancient runes, sounded eerily similar to what Nazi engineers had been building. Coincidence? Or a continuation? Here's another curious link. Documents declassified decades later show that Project Philadelphia, an American Navy experiment in 1943, was attempting to make a ship invisible using magnetic fields. That was during the same years Kammler's team in Germany was spinning the bell. Two nations, enemies in war, chasing the same impossible dream: to bend reality. By 1950, several of those German scientists had vanished again. Some changed names and identities, others died mysteriously in lab accidents. But a few turned up in a new facility in the Nevada desert, what would later be called Area 51. The U.S. government denied its existence for decades, yet locals kept seeing glowing objects rise silently into the sky at night. The shape? A curved bell. Here's a fact that still puzzles historians. In 1960, Polish farmers near the original Nazi test site found pieces of metal fused into stone. When analyzed, they contained isotopes that do not appear naturally on Earth. Scientists said they could have been formed only under extreme electromagnetic stress, the kind that might occur inside a machine like the bell. So maybe the bell never disappeared at all. Maybe it was captured, rebuilt, and tested under a new flag. After all, the Americans suddenly leaped ahead in aerospace technology within a single decade. Rockets, stealth craft, satellites. Could the foundation of all that have come from a Nazi device once meant to rewrite time? Still, every mystery raises another. If the bell really survived, where is it now? And did its power ever go beyond flight? Did it actually distort time? Because in the following years, witnesses began describing something even stranger. Aircraft that didn't just fly fast, they blinked out of existence. For a moment they were there, then gone. Just like the bell in 1945. And when journalists tried to investigate, the trail led to men with no names, sealed documents, and entire facilities wiped from maps. Someone wanted this story buried. But they couldn't bury the evidence that kept appearing in the sky. For decades, people have chased the mystery of the bell. Was it a weapon, a secret aircraft, or something much stranger? Now, nearly 80 years later, modern scientists are finally starting to piece together what might have really happened. And the truth is even more fascinating than the myth. It begins with a discovery from physics: the idea that time and space are not separate things. They're one fabric, space-time, and it bends under the force of gravity. Einstein proved that in 1915, but during World War II, only a handful of people truly understood what it meant. If you could bend space-time enough, you might create a pocket, a loop, where time doesn't flow normally. That was the exact principle Nazi scientists were unknowingly chasing with the bell. The machine's design fits eerily well with modern theories of torsion fields, rotating magnetic energy that could theoretically twist space-time itself. Documents described a mix of heavy metals and liquid mercury spun at high speed inside a magnetic shell. That's not science fiction. It's an early version of what physicists today call plasma confinement, a real phenomenon studied in fusion labs. Except the Nazis were doing it with almost no safety knowledge. They didn't realize they were building something that could destroy them. When researchers revisited the ruins of the test facility in the 1990s, they found strange radiation signatures still lingering in the soil, levels far higher than normal background readings. That's a clue that the bell was producing enormous electromagnetic stress, enough to ionize the ground. It might not have bent time, but it could easily have created fields that scrambled space around it. That could explain why witnesses saw objects disappear, or distort, inside the test chamber. And what about those reports of vanished scientists and warped animals? Modern physicists say exposure to intense electromagnetic energy can cause hallucinations, neurological damage, even cell decay that looks like accelerated aging. It sounds supernatural, but it's simply deadly physics. The bell may never have been a time machine, but it was definitely a machine that broke the rules of physics. Yet, one mystery still refuses to die. In 1965, a strange object crashed near Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. Witnesses described it as metallic, bell-shaped, covered in strange markings and glowing orange. The U.S. military arrived within hours, sealed off the area, and removed the object under heavy guard. They said it was a meteor. But locals never forgot what they saw. To this day it's known as the Kecksburg UFO, and many believe it wasn't from space at all, but something that vanished 20 years earlier in Nazi Germany. So what if the bell didn't disappear into another dimension? What if it simply reappeared decades later? No one has ever found Hans Kammler, the man behind the project. No confirmed grave. No photo after 1945. It's as if history erased him. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what he wanted. Because when we look at everything, secret files, radiation evidence, advanced physics, the story of the bell isn't about magic. It's about obsession. A nation so desperate to win that it tried to rewrite the laws of time itself. The Nazis may not have conquered time. But they did something just as terrifying. They proved how far humanity will go when it believes the impossible is within reach. And maybe that's why the mystery of the bell still haunts us. Because deep down we all wonder the same thing. If we could go back, would we?